You're listening to Unearthed, Gold and the Unknown, where lost riches wait in the dark and restless spirits guard what's buried below. Dare to dig deeper.
Hello and welcome. If you're listening to this, congratulations. You have officially found the very first episode of Unearthed, Gold and the Unknown. I'm Angel, and this show exists because humans have an amazing talent for ignoring the warning signs the second there's even a hint of gold involved.
It's basically our species' superpower. Hi, I'm Nathan. And let's start by saying we aren't historians in dusty old offices. We for sure didn't get any degrees in archaeology.
No, the only thing dusty about us is the Arizona dirt on our boots.
Exactly. We're just curious people who are asking questions and spending way too much time going, okay, but why is that there? This show is where we talk about the mysteries the way that real people do, with skepticism, some humor, and occasionally a moment where things stop being funny and start being, let's keep the lights on tonight, kind of unsettling.
And look, we aren't new to this. I've been chasing the why doesn't this make sense side of the world for over 40 years, long before it was a binge worthy category on Netflix.
And I've been right here for about 30 years. Not in a let's tell ghost stories and PR pants way, more in a let's look at the evidence before we start blaming things on aliens.
In 2015, we stopped shouting at the TV and we joined a paranormal investigation team in California. And that's when it got hands on. We were in the field gathering data, and we realized that real life mysteries don't have a 44-minute runtime with a neat conclusion.
Exactly. Which eventually led us to founding our own team here in Arizona. And that's where the puzzle pieces really started to fit in. Because Arizona isn't just a paranormal hotbed, it's mining, lost routes, and gold country.
So now we split our time between investigating the unknown and actual gold prospecting, which means sometimes we're chasing answers and sometimes we're chasing a beep in the dirt that turns out to be a rusty beer tab from 1974.
So many beer tabs. But that mix is why we're here. Whether you're in an abandoned building at 2 a.m. or in the desert swinging a metal detector, you notice the same thing. History leaves a mess behind. Sometimes it's physical, sometimes it isn't, and sometimes it was buried for reasons we're still trying to figure out.
So we're kicking things off with a mystery that has everything. It has treasure rumors, it has insane engineering, curses, secret societies, and it has over 200 years of people saying, trust me, this time I've got it.
Today, we're talking about Oak Island.
Now, it all started in 1795 with a teenager named Daniel McGuinness. He's just a guy walking around an island off the coast of Nova Scotia, probably trying to get away from his chores and his parents.
And Oak Island wasn't some X marks the spot. It was a busy area. Pirate stories were the TikTok of the 1700s. Everybody was obsessed with talking about them.
So Daniel sees a circular depression in the ground with a pulley mark on a tree branch above it. And his brain immediately goes, pirate gold. Because why wouldn't it?
So he grabs his friends and starts digging. And they hit a stone layer about 2 feet down, and then wooden platforms every 10 feet after that.
And let's be real, guys, nature doesn't do every 10 feet. Nature is messy. This was someone with a tape measure and a serious case of OCD.
But at 30 feet down, they just stopped. They said they felt uneasy, which is honestly the first and last time anyone on that island made the decision just to walk away.
Then the professionals show up. By the 1800s, they officially name it the money pit. Because naming your investment after a hole you throw money into? Great idea.
They dug down to nearly 90 feet, which is impressive for a bunch of dudes with shovels. And then the pit floods. It fills with seawater like a giant salty middle finger.
And instead of saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't be here, they decide the solution is to dig more holes next to it.
Yep, that's the definition of insanity. The first hole fills with water, so let's dig a second hole right next to it. Oh, look, more water. Who would have seen that coming?
And then they find this weird stuff: charcoal, putty, coconut fiber. Nathan, tell people about the coconuts.
Well, I'm not a botanist, but I'm fairly certain coconuts don't grow in Nova Scotia. This this stuff looked imported. This wasn't a guy hiding his life savings. This seemed like a civil engineering project.
And let's not forget the inscribed stone. It basically says, keep digging, there's £2 million down there. Which, in my opinion, is the 1800s version of a click here scam.
And what happened to this priceless artifact? Somebody probably threw it back in the ocean, used to build a foundation of a house, or to build a fireplace. Of course they did.
Because why would you keep the evidence when you can have a nice place to warm your toes?
Well, eventually they find box drains under the beach at Smith's Cove. It's a booby trap, a seawater powered security system.
It's brilliant. It's also incredibly petty. They find oddly arranged flat stones and layers of coconut fiber.
Again, the coconuts.
Well, it was acting as a filter so that the drains wouldn't clog while they drowned you. It's the ultimate keep out sign.
Yeah, later skeptics argued that the drains might have been a part of an old salt mining operation. That's the classic Oak Island experience. Every explanation comes with an immediate counter explanation. That makes you want to bounce your head off the wall.
But joking aside, this is where it gets heavy. There's a legend that 7 people have to die before the treasure is found. And now 6 people have already died.
Including 4 men in one day back in 1965, when they were all suffocated from hydrogen sulfide gas. It wasn't greed that killed them. It was guys trying to save their friends' lives.
People call it a curse, but maybe the island's just indifferent. It doesn't care about your shovel or your bank account, so why would they stay?
They stayed because of the almost. Almost found a coin, almost found a tunnel. Humans are terrible with almost. Once you invest your life, walking away feels like admitting you're a failure.
So who built it? Because this isn't the work of a few pirates between the raids. To understand the engineering, we have to look at the Knights Templar.
The original Too Big to Fail Corporation. They were monks, soldiers, and bankers. In 1307, the King of France tried to wipe them out to dodge his debts. He arrested them on Friday the 13th,
That's a bad day.
but when he opened up their vaults, they were empty.
The Templar fleet vanished from France, and they needed somewhere to go where the Pope's wanted posters were ignored. Enter Scotland.
Scotland was the ultimate witness protection program because King Robert the Bruce was excommunicated. He basically told the Pope, "We're too busy fighting the English. Leave me a message."
The Templars, they blended into the Scottish families, especially the Sinclairs. Now, if you've ever seen Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland, it is covered in Templar symbols. But here's the kicker: it has stone carvings of corn and sunflowers.
Yeah, and this was 1450. Columbus didn't discover America until 1492. Corn and sunflowers only grew in the New World.
So the Sinclairs and the Templars likely had a map. Scotland was a pit stop, but it was too close to Europe. If you're hiding something that could topple the church, you don't keep it in a chapel, you take across the Atlantic to a remote island.
Which brings us to the lead cross, found on the island by the TV show Curse of Oak Island. This isn't just a story anymore.
No, it's a maybe with a scientific receipt. They did laser testing on the lead. It didn't come from North America. It was traced back to a medieval quarry in southern France that was a non-Templar stronghold.
And the shape matches carvings found in the walls of Dom prison, where Templars were held before they were executed.
So it's a calling card. It's not flashy gold, it's a heavy, stubborn piece of proof. It says this place matters to the people who know the code.
And that's the thing that keeps me up at night, because if you accept that the cross is real, and science says it's real, Then Oak Island isn't just a treasure hunt anymore. It's a crime scene or a vault, maybe even a library.
Exactly. It shifts the whole why of the island. If it was just pirates, they would have come back for the gold. Pirates aren't exactly known for their long term estate planning, they spend it.
Huh. Yeah, they aren't buying any 401ks, but the Templars, they were hiding a legacy. They were protecting something that they thought was too dangerous for the world to have.
And that's where our experience in Arizona comes back into play. When we're out prospecting or investigating, we always look for the intent behind a site. You look at the landscape and you ask, what is it trying to tell us?
And Oak Island has been screaming the same thing for 200 years. It's not time yet. It fights you, it floods, it hides its own evidence, and the most successful do not disturb sign in history.
Honestly, after 40 years of looking for the unknown, I've realized that some things stay hidden not because they're lost, but because they're doing their job.
And Oak Island is definitely still on the clock.
So, after all of this, the pirates, the booby traps, the curses, and the coconuts in Canada, Oak Island doesn't feel cursed to me.
Feels protected.
Protected by water, time, and the fact that we humans just can't take a hint. Honestly, I kind of respect it.
Same, just from a safe distance here in Arizona.
So that's where we're leaving it today. We don't have answers because Oak Island doesn't do answers. It only does maybe.
If this episode makes you curious, or even made you want to check your backyard for coconut fibers, perfect. You're one of us now.
And for that one listener who's thinking, I could solve that in a weekend.
No, you couldn't. Sit down.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. This is Unearthed Gold and the Unknown, and we are just getting started.
So, whatever you're listening, driving, working, hiding from your boss, thanks for letting us be a part of your day.
I'm Angel.
And I'm Nathan.
And this has been Unearthed Gold and the Unknown.
Until next time, stay curious and maybe leave the shovel in the garage.